Welcome, everybody, to the Seattle Sports Union Podcast. My name is Abraham DeWeese, and I'm back again with the Soul Man, Brian Solak. This week, joining us for some baseball and pro wrestling talk, the coach, Mike Jones. How's it going, guys?
Hey, thanks for having me.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for joining us. It's always a pleasure.
Super excited to have you back, Coach. We know you're our resident wrestling expert, but you know a little bit about baseball too. And before we get too much into the swing of things here, for those who have not listened to the coach before, great guy. He knows the local scene, I will say, for the pro wrestling world. He has his own podcast. What's your podcast again, Coach?
The Coach Mike Jones Show podcast every Saturday noon Pacific.
Nice, and that's coming up pretty soon here.
Yes,
check that out, and as well. You talk about baseball as well as pro wrestling, right?
Yes, definitely. I've done the Seattle Mariners organizational report many times.
That's right. And then you have the green room.
Yes, the NGW green room for hundreds of interviews.
Right on. Well, let's start off with wrestling. Take it away, Brian.
All right. Before I do start off with wrestling, who's your guest on your show today, real quick, Coach Mike?
I got Matt Sigmund from Tennessee. I'm really excited to hear about that. He's got a Christian wrestling camp coming up here soon, so with George South and others. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, awesome. I can't wait to hear that. Very cool. Very cool. We're going to start off with a little bit of WWE wrestling. We got WrestleMania coming up. It's the Super Bowl of wrestling, and I personally look forward to it, every year. I mean, up until a few years ago, they just did it like one day every March or April, and now they have it Saturday and Sunday. They have maybe 15 matches over the span of 2 days. I mean, it's pretty exciting. How excited are you going to be able to watch some WrestleMania this year, Mike?
Oh, yes. I'm loving it this year. Every year is really good.
Where are you planning on watching it?
Here at my house in Puyallup.
Okay.
Hold on. Every year is good, Coach.
Well, I like them all. I mean, you're right. Maybe some are better than others. Okay, you're right.
You're really telling me watching what's his face trying to get out of the handcuffs and he couldn't get out of the handcuffs yeah. There's some that are better than others.
Yes.
They've lasted 40 years, so they're doing something right, man. I can't believe it's already 40 years.
Quite the spectacle, years? Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. How old are we?
Well, we went to the one in Seattle. What was that, WrestleMania 19 or 20 or something? But
yeah, that was
right.
Amazing.
Crazy. We are looking – there's several good matches on the card this year. In particular, I'll throw out one that I'm excited for, actually, and you'll be surprised to hear this, but it's for the Intercontinental Championship with Gunther, or they say Gunther versus Sami Zayn. Personally, I hope Sami Zayn kicks his you-know-what, but because Gunther's had the title for 2 years, and it's time for them to move him on to go after the heavyweight championship. But any matches stand out to you, Coach Mike, in particular?
Yeah, I'm looking for Becky Lynch to succeed this weekend, or that during WrestleMania, yeah. And then, of course, I'm hoping for Cody Rhodes to get his dream come true. And then I'd like to see Drew McIntyre lose also.
Why?
Well, I'm still upset that they had him come here to Seattle and beat our hometown hero Bolo in 22 seconds. So
I think we need some context on this. When did this happen?
That was over 10 years ago. Aaron Bolo got to wrestle Drew McIntyre at Climate Pledge Arena. And, they billed him as a Washington State champ, MMA champ. He come out there, they 22-second squash. I'm like, that was wrong.
That is wrong. That makes me hate Drew McIntyre even more. Seriously.
No, I don't like him. Yeah, I'm not a fan
jerk.
Even though I got to admit it wasn't his fault or his idea probably, but still, it was him.
Was it at least on television and not a dark match?
It was on television, yes.
Okay, all right. I was going to say, if it's a dark match, forget that.
Yeah.
How are you feeling, Coach, about a lot of local kids like Nick Wayne and Darby Allin and the guy I think is going to be the next champ, Swerve Strickland. It's kind of like a little boom for local guys in wrestling today, isn't it?
Yes, man. Nick Wayne's been doing great. Darby Allin is amazing also. And yes, I'm Swerve is like the next big thing they're saying, and he's really proven it to everybody too,
Any interactions with you and them personally, or maybe Nick Wayne's dad?
Yeah, I knew Nick Wayne's dad. I wrestled with him many times. Been on a bunch of shows with them. Was out there doing pull-aparts when I was a rookie with him and Samito fighting after the match. Yeah, I've been on shows. Nick Wayne came to an SCW show in Paulsbo and refereed and did a little bit of wrestling when he was just turned teenager.
Oh, wow.
So, man, he's come a long ways.
They are using Nick Wayne's mom on AEW now. And I mean, what are your thoughts about that? I mean, she's playing a heel and Christian.
That's a little cheesy, I think.
Yeah.
It's like, and then they're trying to use the dead father thing. Oh, come on. They don't need to be doing that.
You're not a fan of that?
No.
Yeah, they're overdoing it. I agree. I'll admit I laughed at first, but it's getting they need to move on.
You guys do like story and intrigue. This is great stuff. Christian Cage is the new dad that Nick Wayne never had. I'm a huge fan of this.
He had a dad, my goodness.
No, Christian is his daddy.
I know, but the daddy never had. That's wrong.
This is why I love pro wrestling.
So true. Back to WWE with WrestleMania coming up. Do you really see Becky Lynch beating Rhea Ripley for the title?
Oh, man, that's a tall order. So I'm hoping for her. But, yeah, I don't know. It does seem like Rhea is more favored in this match, yes.
Is Becky Lynch more famous and more popular than her husband, Seth Rollins?
Oh, man, I don't think so.
Ooh, really?
No, and I definitely don't. I don't enjoy her being the man. It's like, that's stupid.
That was like a nod to Ric Flair, right? Because when she and Charlotte were going up against each other, isn't that where the genesis of that came from?
Yeah, I guess, but still, come on now.
It's a little bit weak. I understand that, but I think she's probably the face of the women's. If it's not Charlotte, it's her.
Yeah, that's true.
And according to The Rock on last night's SmackDown show, he says Becky is way better and way more popular than her husband. I don't know. You got to Google. If you didn't watch last night's SmackDown show, The Rock has about 15 minutes of singing he does in the beginning. It's pretty freaking hilarious. So,
he's always entertaining. Yes.
Speaking of The Rock, he is back, with the WWE. He's got a new role with being on the board. He's going to be at WrestleMania fighting in a match on night one with his cousin Roman Reigns against Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins. I mean, what are your thoughts? Who do you think is going to win that one?
Man, that one that's a close brawl right there. I'm thinking The Rock might get a surprise win, but other than that, I'd probably be going for Cody.
I hope so. Yeah, I hope they give it to Cody, but I think it'd be more intriguing to see on night two. They're saying if The Rock, they win on night one, then it's going to be bloodline rules, and there'll be lots more, action, people, blood, and whatever you want to name it. So I'm looking forward to that match. But as long as Cody wins a night two, that's all that matters to me, I guess. How about you, Abraham?
I think it's dumb. I think this is probably the dumbest thing. I mean, I see what they did. They made a dumb decision and they're trying to make the best out of it. So I got to give them props there. But for a matchup of Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns, you don't need ladders, you don't need blood, you don't need exploding, cells and hells in the cells, and you don't need, The Rock dancing and singing Tutti Frutti. Okay, like, the story's already there. I don't know why you're trying to add, chocolate frosting on a, chocolate fudge cake.
Yeah.
It's dumb.
Do either of you think that when they brought The Rock back in, did anybody see The Rock being a heel and part of the bloodline? I mean, I personally thought he was going to come in and be The Rock, and he was going to, kick Roman Reigns, as you know what, and break up the bloodline. I mean, who thought this was going to happen? Was that the ultimate plan?
Myself, I just was happy to have The Rock in there, man. He's really entertaining no matter which way he goes, face or heel. He's like the top guy, and he's really entertaining and amazing. And, I just love having him in there.
How about you?
All right. Okay. I'm in the minority. I think The Rock singing and dancing like Mean Gene with the gobbledygooker is just, utterly ridiculous. How about you just get in there and talk and wrestle? I don't know if we need all this extra. I think they made a mistake in getting him involved. But what he is he's instant ratings, right? So they're trying to drum up business, trying to draw out, trying to make this big money, big time. And it's hard to get your stars over when the old guys don't go away. Like he's got to go away at some point.
Yeah.
Very, very true. Down the road, though, with The Rock being on the board and all, and that idiot Vince McMahon is gone and moved on. I mean, do we see any major changes, do you guys think, in WWE? Or, I mean, is The Rock going to force Triple H into a lesser role? I mean, I thought Triple H has done a great job so far.
I'm hoping it goes for the best. And the one thing I like, it seems like The Rock's out there ruffling the PC group's feathers. I always enjoy that.
Yeah. Well said. Well said. One more match I want to bring up at WrestleMania, the brother versus brother match, Jimmy Uso versus J Uso. I think that might be one of the best matches of both nights. I mean, what are you guys' thoughts?
I like what Jimmy's been doing, so I'm going for him.
What about you, Abe?
I hate it. I hate it when great tag teams are forced to split. And I mean, they thought this was gonna, maybe try to shake things up a little bit. But I like them much better in the role of being like the bodyguards for Roman Reigns. I am not. Their individual characters don't really excite me all that much.
So
yeet
or no yeet?
I'm not that hip. Don't do that to me.
Okay, so who's gonna win then? Jimmy Uso's yeet or Jay is no yeet?
The one with the tennis shoes. I think that's the other problem I have, Coach Mike. Please tell me, these guys wearing tennis shoes in a wrestling match. I can't.
Yeah, I don't like that. Ever since John Cena was out there, tennis shoes and gauchos, I was like, come on, man, that's the worst ring gear there is. But I guess that was part of his gimmick, but it seems like almost half the wrestling industry go that route. It seems like it doesn't look good.
I don't think it looks good. I mean, who was it Titus? Oh no. Who was the guy that died recently but wore like Timberlands in the ring?
I don't remember.
He was half of Crime Time.
Oh yes.
I feel bad. He died.
I forgot it.
Gaspard?
Gaspard or something.
Yeah,
wasn't it?
Gaspard. Yeah,
that's right.
R.I.P. He saved his son in a
yes.
accident. But like, I always thought he looked tough with like the Timberlands, but like tennis shoes, come on. I mean, that doesn't do any damage. like steel toe boots do damage.
Okay, yeah.
Like.
Well, back to real quick to the Jimmy and Jay match. I'm going to make my prediction. I say Jimmy's going to win, but I say Daddy Rikishi is going to make an appearance, and it'll be a surprise which son he chooses. He's going to help out win the match, but I think it's for entertainment wise. We'll see Rikishi.
Okay, I think it's going to be a DQ, so they'll have to keep continuing this on.
I can see that happening for sure. So in the end, I know we've talked about it, but does Cody finish his story at WrestleMania night 2?
I'm hoping so.
I do too, but I personally, I mean, Damian Priest has got the Money in the Bank still. He's got to use up before the next Money in the Bank pay-per-view, and I really see him coming out. I think he's going to use it on Cody if Cody wins, and Cody's only going to have a 1 or 2 minute reign as champion.
Goodness,
Coach, you've done some booking. Was it a mistake to not finish this story last year?
Well, I would have loved to have seen it last year, but I think they did good on continue it to this year, so we'll see.
That's a great question, Abraham. What do you think about that?
I thought it was a mistake because wrestling careers can end in an instant, and to not get it when the people want it, it almost seems contrived this year. Whereas last year, it would have been a nice cap. Because when he tore his pec,
yeah,
that could have been it for his career.
That's true. Very good point.
Yeah, it's amazing he made it through that match. My goodness.
Oh, yeah.
Coach, tell us about that. Like, have you ever had to experience that where you...
No, I got lucky. I basically made it through all the way through without any injuries. And, being 59 years old now, it's starting to catch up with me a little bit. I'm still doing good, but I could not imagine having that injury and then even wanting to wrestle. No, right. I could not.
Yeah, it sounds painful. Is Logan Paul the future of pro wrestling?
He's doing a good job. I'm not sure if he's going to be the future, but he's lined right up there to be. It's a lot of it's up to him, and then we'll see what happens. Yeah.
Abraham?
I didn't even know who this guy was until about a year ago. Apparently he's famous.
Him and his brother, yeah.
So he's the future of wrestling. I think he's no. I mean, he's a internet influencer is the term, I guess. The question's like, is Pat McAfee the future of broadcasting? In a just and good world, no. So in a just and good world, Logan Paul disappears into the internet from whence he came.
Hey, I'm really enjoying Pat McAfee's announcing, though. He seems like he brings a lot to the shows.
He does.
McAfee is a certain type, like he appeals to like half the people, I think, and then the other half don't like him. I don't think there's very much middle ground on Pat McAfee.
Yeah, that's true.
Michael Cole might be the same way, right?
Yeah, I didn't think about that.
I actually like Michael Cole, but I know a ton of people who don't like him. And it's just like, well, he's good. I'm entertained by him. And so, I know Pat McAfee entertains a lot of people.
Hey, that's right there with the Corey Graves thing. He gets a lot of flack also. I think he does a good job, too.
I thought he was pretty good, to be honest. Yeah, I agree.
Now, yeah, Corey's in the lead role now in SmackDown. I think he's doing a great job. Very much. Back to Pat McAfee real quick. I think it's entertaining. The dances when he gets on the table and dances to certain music and gets really into it. And I don't know if you guys seen it or not, but there's a few weeks back he got on the table and Gunther was in the ring, and he was hazing Gunther, and you should see but when Gunther's back was turned to him, then Gunther looked at him, and you could see McAfee, freaking out, and it was pretty instant classic. So
I'm guessing 20 years ago, Soul Man, you were the guy marking out for Too Cool when they do their little dance.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. What's his name? Jerry the King Lawler's son was it Brian Christopher? Yeah.
Right.
And I can't. I love that, dude. You know me too well, Abraham.
Yeah.
Oh, geez. Moving on. Were you able? Actually, two-part question, and I'm assuming that I know what you're going to say, Coach. But number one, what are your thoughts on Sting's final match? And I mean, is he one of the greatest of all time?
Yeah, man, I was a huge Sting fan from day one, and I really enjoyed his whole career. I mean, even through the changes of the Crow and the Surfer, the whole thing. I even loved his song back in the day when when he was back with RoboCop.
The Man Called Sting.
Yeah.
I'll have to check that out. I forgot about that.
Oh, it's pretty. It's you'd have to be a Coach Mike to enjoy that song. It's not good, but I was a little stinger, so I put up with it. I was never a Hulkamaniac. I was always a little stinger. That's
okay.
I stand by that.
Did either of you see Sting's final match or see highlights? I mean, did he go out on top? Or was it a lame, cheesy match?
I didn't get a chance to see it yet. I did see Darby Allin go through the pane of glass. That looked pretty dumb.
That was unnecessary for a free television event.
Goodness.
That's one where you do at like tables, ladders, and chairs, or maybe just don't do it at all.
Yeah, I don't think you do it at all. Exactly.
That's a way to take years off of your career. I did watch the match. I'm not a big fan of the Young Bucks being the, final boss, so to speak. But apparently that was Sting's request. So I guess you got to go with his request. And it was the right thing to do to put him over, because I'm still, to this day, and Coach, got to get your opinion on this, annoyed as hell that the only WrestleMania we saw, he had to job out to that idiot Triple H.
Yeah, that was weak. I mean, the whole thing was weak. Just the setup, the actual match, the ending, the whole thing. Yes.
Yeah. So tell me about that. I was absolutely perplexed why the NWO came to defend Sting. I'm like, they were enemies. Why would they?
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. The ending of that didn't make any sense. I mean, if it should have been the Undertaker, shouldn't it?
Oh, that would have been a lot better. Yes, definitely.
Like if he lost to the Undertaker, I think I could have handled that better than Triple H. To go back to your earlier question, Brian, I really think Triple H is a great executive.
I do too. Yeah.
I just think he self-inserts, or did, in the early 2000s, to try to make himself the star of the show, when it's really like, you're a great wrestler and a great executive. You're not the star of wrestling. You just aren't The Rock. You're not even Brock Lesnar, but I like what he does as an executive. It's just these baffling decisions that he has to, put himself over on Sting, or,
Back to what you're saying there, though, but he was married. He's married to a McMahon. Do you think he got away? I mean, they let him do his own thing then back then, or?
Yeah.
I mean, okay. I think he's gotten better over the years, but I agree with what you're saying. I got one more wrestling question I do have to ask. This past week, we saw the debut of Mercedes Monet, former Sasha Banks, on AEW. Hey guys, is there any stake to the sizzle?
I like her. She was a good wrestler. She's got charisma, and I'm all for her. And I love having better women in AEW. They've already got a few good ones, but the more the merrier.
Was it worth paying her $10 million a year to be the CEO of AEW now?
That is a lot, but man, dude's got money to burn. Remember, it's like somebody said, you shouldn't be trying to worry about a billionaire's money they spend because it's just dollars to them.
True. Right. True. I'm glad to see her back. What about you, Abe?
Just like Coach said, I think it's a huge overpay for what she is. I think she was, of the 4 horsewomen, I think she was 3rd on the totem pole. I didn't think I don't think she's in the same stratosphere as Charlotte. And that Charlotte's a person you'd pay $10 million to.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Do we want to move on to a particular team that's terrible with money?
Go ahead. Yeah, why don't you lead us off there?
All right, not a problem. So Coach Mike, Brian, we have a certain little team in a certain little town called the Seattle Mariners. We're not going to turn this into a complaining session about, them not opening the pocketbooks, because you're right, Coach. Come on, billionaires, open it up a little bit. Checkbook, get that out. But let's stick to what's on the field rather than what's, the knuckleheads in the ivory tower. So for both you guys, let me throw this question at you. Last 3 seasons, the Mariners have had a certain amount of success. Let's just say, Abraham's going to step out of his own body for a second and not be condescending about the 54% thing. But the last 3 seasons more successful than the prior seasons. Is this the breakthrough year, or is this another also ran year? Start with you, Coach Mike.
Man, I don't know what to think. One thing, it's like you get all these mixed signals. How can you keep saying we have the number 1 pitching rotation when we have no left-handed pitchers?
That's a good question.
Disqualified.
Yeah.
Do not have even the top 10 pitching deal if you don't have left-handed pitchers. And then now we're about ready to get Blake Snell over to the Houston Astros because we're not signing him.
Yeah, good point. Was it a mistake?
I had not thought about that, Soul Man. They were talking about Snell last couple of days, but very good point on the left-hander. Honestly, even though he was hurt, I hated to see Robbie Ray go. I get why they did it, but as for the answering your question, I'm not going to make any excuses because Abe will just have all these more questions directed at me, and I can't tolerate it right now. But questions or accusations?
Okay, have more accusations.
But no, can you guys tell me the
breakthrough?
Tell me about the breakthrough. Do you think that's theirs, Soul Man?
I think they've assembled a hell of a team. I think this is a breakthrough year, and I honestly see them making a couple huge trade line acquisitions at the end of July. And no, we're not going to catch Houston, but I think let me rephrase it. We are going to make the playoffs. You heard it right here. Okay. But I think we're a step in the right direction. But ownership is cheap, and they need to start breaking out that pocketbook. But I really feel that they're going to.
Coach, could you tell us the significance of not having a left-hander? For those who may not know.
My goodness. I mean, you got to play by the numbers. The numbers are lefty-righty. Pretty much every at-bat, one way or the other. You can't have a one-sided attack. Come on now. And it's like, man, we've got rid of so many lefties. It's almost like with our 97 left fielders. Well, what's part of the 97 left fielders? They got rid of 95 of them.
But we don't even have a bullpen with a lot of lefties, right?
We have 2 lefties in the bullpen that are like 1-inning guys. So, your strategy is screwed, okay?
So basically teams will stack with the left-handed bats, right?
Basically, yes.
And you're going to run into teams that have really, they're going to be really good at that.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm all about playing by the numbers, and they have not played by the numbers pretty much ever since.
And you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but throughout the history of baseball, there are more right-handed pitchers than there are left-handed. So
Absolutely.
Typically, if you're very good left-handed at bat, you'll be one of the best. You're typically going to have an advantage because you're going to face more right-handed batters than you ever will left-handed pitchers, or right-handed pitchers more than left-handed pitchers. And that's kind of been a tenet. And I don't know if all these analytics have confused common rational thinking, but
sure.
Coach, the more you say it, the more I'm getting angry. And so we'll move on to the next.
Don't get angry.
And no, Solak, they will not make a major trade. They have not done it before. And I don't think they'll do it again.
They have made 8 trades in this offseason. That 7 out of 8 are freaking amazing. But I get what you're saying, but we'll see what happens.
You said a major trade. You didn't say trade.
I understand that. I'm just saying
trades. They've had 8 great trades. Really?
7 of 8. They've had 8. I think 7 of the 8 offseason trades have been great.
You use the word great a little differently than I do, I guess.
Maybe I do.
The 97 outfielders, like Coach Mike said, I'm not that excited about.
No.
Anyway, the reason why I don't label these great is because there are guys like Haniger, Polanco, and Urias who are injury prone. And I don't think that is a secret. I think that's pretty normal. In fact, anybody who evaluates the Mariners, if you've heard it this year, they always start with if they're healthy.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to be healthy because no team ever is healthy. Do the Mariners have the depth to overcome losses to any of these guys?
I think we're at least another batter and at least a pitcher or two away from being what we should be, rather than what this another year of we hope and think these guys are going to do good. We need some more support. Yes.
Right on. So,
we need another batter or two out there. I'm fine with our pitching staff, starting pitching and the bullpen. I think we have one of the top bullpens in the league, and even though we don't have a lefty in the starting staff, they're all 5 young studs, and they're going to find their way, and they're going to lead us to a second place finish.
Yeah, you'll be laughing when Isaiah Campbell is lighting it up for the Red Sox, won't you?
No, he's just a middle innings guy, but sure, I'll be
with his dad. You got to say nicer things about him. All right, give me a player, guys, who's poised to be a breakout star this year. I mean, obviously we got Julio, so I'm looking for somebody else.
I'm hoping Luke Rayleigh pulls his weight and does better than last year. That would be a nice surprise.
What do you see in him?
I see that he could be a rising star. I like what he brings, and I like everything about him. Yes.
Any concerns about the strikeouts?
I think he's getting better.
So you see potential for him to improve on that?
Yes.
Okay. So, man?
Yeah. Real quick, I like that pick. I think Luke's an up-and-coming player. I think we got the steal of that trade with Tampa Bay. With that said, my choice for player, he started to break out, but I think he's going to have a huge year, is George Kirby. I think he's going to battle for the Cy Young Award. Mark my words. I would say for sure top 3, but the kid can play, and that's probably one of our next big contracts that we should be thinking about giving out during the season, because we got to secure this kid through his arbitration and a couple of free agent years. They got to make it happen if they're not going to spend any money elsewhere.
Are there any concerns? Like one of the things I've heard. Oh, sorry, Coach Mike, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying definitely.
Are there any concerns that George Kirby is too zoned in on as ridiculous as this sounds, it's starting to make sense to me. Is there any concern that he throws too many strikes? In other words, he doesn't try to pitch on the edge of the batter's box.
Well, myself, I think he's done better in his first from 1 year to the next on even getting better on his control.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't see any concern with that. He's got laser control.
Well, I think the concern though is he's not. What I've heard is he's not willing to attack the edges because he has that pinpoint.
Oh, yeah.
He seems a little more hell-bent on going down the middle.
Yeah, hopefully that doesn't catch up with him, yes.
Yeah, I agree with everything what Coach said, but I think he's been working on what you've heard, Abraham, and you're going to see a big difference this year. I mean, from Game 2, which I believe he'll be starting that night when we go on March 29th against the Red Sox. You're gonna see he's gonna be attacking all. He'll be hitting his spots, and nothing. It's not gonna be everything down the middle. Trust me.
Right on. So who's fool's gold? And what I mean by this is, who are you not buying the hype on?
Probably Gregor Santos. I mean, he seemed like the same type of guy we got all off season. Oh, here's a great guy, but he's injured, and we get him injured. I didn't think you were supposed to be able to do that you couldn't trade an injured player. But he was an injured player, and I don't know if he's going to pan out.
I think you're not supposed to do that. It's not that you can't do that.
Yeah, but it's okay for us to do it because we're like, it's better him than nobody, I guess they look at.
Right. Did we trade anybody significant for him? Do you guys remember?
No, I thought it was like a relief pitcher and a minor leaguer or something.
A bag of balls and a six.
Yeah, I can't off the top of my head.
Okay. So, man,
my player set for decline. Sad to say, and sorry to Andrew Mintic, but Ty France. I think he's had his few good years, and I think his body is too beat up playing first base. He's got too many injuries over the last couple seasons. They haven't been significant, but I can see something coming down the road here. I've always personally didn't like Ty France going to first base because I didn't think he had the body for it, and I think we've started to notice, and his offensive production has gone down. So unfortunately, that's who I see.
Yeah, my fool's gold is going to be the whole third base position. That's not a big shock. I mean, you guys are talking about we need another at bat. It's that position that we need the at bat. But I don't expect anything out of that, and that's going to be a huge problem. But I agree with you about the Ty France. I like that he's in camp in a better shape, better weight, but it's about bat speed, and that's what his wrist injury from a year and a half ago took away from him. And I don't know if that's back. A couple more questions here.
Hold on a second. Yeah, I'm a huge Ty France fan, and it seemed like last year he did go down, but the year before he was rising up for a minute there. Yep. And he was the player of the game, and they are interviewing him, and he's like, I take hitting seriously. And I believed him. And then, he learns from Tony Gwynn, and then now he takes this off season and acts like he's relearned how to hit, disregarding everything Tony Gwynn said. I don't know. It's just different.
Well, good point.
What do you guys think is an acceptable season? In other words, is anybody on the hot seat for the Mariners? I'll just get this one started. Like playoffs for me, it's playoffs or start firing everybody, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm hoping Dipoto and Scott are on the hot seat. My goodness, they got to do something.
Yeah. Playoffs is anything else is unacceptable. I wish I could say ownership's on the hot seat, but obviously I can't.
Yeah.
So I'll go with Dipoto and Scott, but I see him obviously they're going to can Scott first before Dipoto, unfortunately. But
honestly, I'm curious why they didn't fire Dipoto last year.
Yeah.
That meltdown in September. Somebody's got to take the fall for that.
Absolutely.
And
definitely.
All right. One more question before we sign off here. Prediction for the Mariners for this year. All right, let's go ahead and start with Coach Mike.
My goodness, man, I'm hoping they can be over 500. I'm not sure they're going to hit 54% this year. Well, that's with the current roster and with the current injury, whatever you call it, the probabilities for injuries for these guys.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking they're going to win like 83 games. Unless they make some changes and then stay healthy, they can do better and make the playoffs. But right now, I don't think they're making it.
Soul Man?
My prediction is 88 and 74. Mark my words.
And you said they'll make the playoffs, huh?
They'll make the playoffs too. Yep.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Like my win total's right about with yours there, Soul Man. I think it's 87, 88 type of season, but I think you got to win 90 games to get in the playoffs.
That's what I was going to say. Yes.
And I don't think they hit that mark. And I'm very much with you, Coach Mike. An injury here and there is going to dismantle this offense because they don't have the depth to make up for it. They don't have the desire or drive to play small ball to support their pitching. And you can take all your spreadsheets, you can take all your analytics, and you can shove them in your floppy disk drive because when it comes to baseball, it's what the players do out there on the field, not what the probabilities are. It's that specific moment in time that the Mariners don't capture, when the game is tight, and they haven't shown a proclivity to that. So I think they missed the playoffs. It's a 88 win season. I agree with you, Soul Man, but you need 90 wins, in my opinion, to make the playoffs.
Real quick, normally I agree with that, but I really think the American League is much stronger this year. I think everybody's gonna beat the living bleep out of each other. I think the East has gotten stronger, but that means they're all going to beat up on each other and have less victories. And even the Central's got a couple of good teams this year, and the AL West is good too. So that's why I think normally, yes, a 90 or above is a guarantee, but that's why I think our chances are better this year. But anyways, go on.
Hey, I got something I want to point out, man. Last year we did our baseball, the end of the year baseball special we had. And Soul Man, you asked me a question. I was sort of shocked you asked me. You said, do I think that the Mariners are going to make the playoffs still? And at that point, when you asked me, we were on the rise. We just had that great August.
Yeah.
And I said yes, because I was like, man, for sure they're going to make it. But I did mention if they stick together with the team chemistry that they had, that they can go all the way. And, man, what a disappointment. They just fell apart like a cookie crumble.
Yeah. And the chemistry part, I get that Eugenio Suarez struck out a lot, but man, to lose that guy, again, I don't care what the numbers are, what the analytics tell you. That guy was a leader in the clubhouse, and chipping away at cornerstones like that and replacing it with Luis Urias and gross.
You never get rid of somebody unless you have somebody better. Exactly.
True, yeah.
Anyway, all right, let's do our shout outs here this week. As you guys remember, as Coach Mike, you remember, that we always like to end on a positive note. I'm going to start it off with you, Soul Man.
All right. As you all can see, I got my Rutgers University sweatshirt on. So my oldest, Jared, goes there. He is attending college there. I just want to give him a happy 25th birthday shout out to him. Just tell him that his mom and I love him and miss him very much, as I'm getting emotional just because we really do miss him. So love you, son.
Right on. I thought you were getting emotional because now you have to be a Rutgers fan. And I'm going to stick with the family theme. I'm going to give a shout out to my son, Vincent. We just got married a couple weeks ago and is preparing. We just got back from spring training, which was kind of like his after wedding bachelor party, whatever. Anyway, good father-son time down there in the Valley of the Sun. And, all my hypocrisy aside, I enjoy watching the Mariners. even if I enjoy hating them as well. But best thing about it is to do it with family and to been there with him in Phoenix. Coach Mike,
Nice.
your shout out?
Yeah, man, I'd like to give a shout out to Sign Guy. He was supposed to be on here with us today, but technical difficulties, he couldn't make it. But he'll be co-hosting with me today here at noon on my show. And, of course, I'm with him every Sunday noon or 1 o'clock Pacific for Turnbuckle Turmoil. And I also want to give a shout-out to Wild Lyle. We've been working out every week and going to do my first 5K next month in Renton.
Oh,
I've
nice.
been training for that and looking forward to it. And I want to thank you guys. Appreciate everything you guys do.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Right on. And yes, Sign Guy, we'll get you next time. Obviously,
Absolutely.
technical difficulties. We'll be on top of it next time. We'll figure it out. And where again, Coach? Can they find you in Sign Guy?
On Turnbuckle Turmoil, he's on the Sign Guys Wrestling Show 3 o'clock Fridays, and I'm on with them 1 o'clock on Sundays for Turnbuckle Turmoil. Then, of course, he's on my show half the time for the Coach Mike Jones Show podcast every noon, Saturday at noon Pacific.
Right on. Well, thank you again for joining us at the Seattle Sports Union, and keep in touch with us on social media and on Facebook and Twitter at Seattle Sports U as well. Check out our website at seattlesportsunion.com. Keep listening to our podcast on Spotify, iTunes, Captivate FM, and North Beach Community TV, channel 68 on the coast. Once again, thank you to the Soul Man, Brian Solak, and to the Coach, Mike Jones, and out there somewhere, thank you, Sign Guy. And we'll catch you guys next time.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.